Congenital analgesia, insensitivity to pain. Imagine going through life without ever saying, ow. Sounds cool, right? No stubbed toes, no paper cuts, and you can walk barefoot on Legos like a superhero. But congenital analgesia, also known as insensitivity to pain, is more of a curse disguised as a gift. People with this condition literally cannot feel pain. Break a bone? Nada. Burn your hand on the stove? Not even a flinch. But pain is your body's way of saying, hey, stop doing that, genius. Without it, injuries go unnoticed, infections get worse, and even something as minor as a sprained ankle can spiral into a serious problem because, well, you didn't realize you sprained it. Kids with this condition are the real daredevils of the playground, but not by choice. They might even break an arm mid-cartwheel and just keep cartwheeling because they don't feel a thing. By the time they grow up, the list of injuries could rival that of a professional stuntman, minus the paycheck and the cool movie credits. Doctors even warn parents to keep an eye out for self-inflicted injuries, like biting through their own tongues, because they can't tell when it hurts. Yikes! Hyperthymesia, superior autobiographical memory. Ever wish you could remember where you left your keys? Or better yet, recall every detail of that embarrassing middle school dance where you tripped and spilled punch on your crush? Hyperthymesia is like having that ability, but cranked up to 11 and it never shuts off. People with this condition remember almost every single day of their lives in extreme detail. What were you doing on April 14th, 2007? They will tell you. It was a Saturday. I wore a green sweater. It rained around 3:15 p.m., and I had a disappointing tuna sandwich for lunch. Impressive? Sure. Exhausting? Absolutely. Hyperthymesia isn't just about remembering the highlights, like your wedding day or that one time you found $20 on the street. Nope. They remember everything. The good, the bad, and the downright awkward. That fight you had with your sibling over the TV remote in 2003? Still crystal clear. Now, before you start envying them, consider this. They can't forget. Ever. Their brains are basically an emotional Netflix account, playing all the dramas, comedies, and horror shows on repeat. Imagine carrying every cringeworthy and heartbreaking moment with you. It is less of a gift and more like having an overachieving memory that just won't quit. Savant syndrome. Picture this. Someone who struggles with basic day-to-day tasks, like tying their shoes or holding a conversation, but can calculate the exact day of the week for any date in history faster than you can Google it. That is savant syndrome, and it is as fascinating as it is mysterious. Savant syndrome occurs in individuals with autism or other developmental conditions. But what sets them apart is their extraordinary talent in one specific area. Think Rain Man, but real. Some are human calculators, solving complex equations in their heads faster than a computer. Others can play entire symphonies after hearing them just once, or create hyper-realistic drawings without any formal training. These abilities are so exceptional, they make you question whether they are from this planet. But these incredible skills usually exist alongside significant challenges in other areas. Many savants struggle with basic social interactions or daily routines. Basically, their brains decided to max out one skill tree and leave the rest of the skill points untouched. They sometimes do not even remember your name, but they can recreate a cityscape down to the last window pane after seeing it for 5 minutes. Congenital mirror touch synesthesia. Living with congenital mirror touch synesthesia means experiencing life as if someone hit copy-paste on every sensation around you. When another person gets poked, you feel it. If they rub their arm, yours will start tingling too. Your nervous system decides to become a full-time empath without asking for permission. This condition takes putting yourself in someone else's shoes to a literal level. Watching a friend wince after stubbing their toe? Congratulations, you are now sharing their pain. A trip to the mall or a crowded concert can be a sensory overload nightmare. Every accidental bump, nudge, or slap might as well be happening to you. Forget physical boundaries. Your brain says, let's feel everything, everywhere, all at once. I know it sounds like a cool party trick at first. Oh, you feel what I feel? That is amazing. Except it is not so amazing when someone near you smashes their finger and you are suddenly clutching your own hand in phantom pain. And don't even think about watching horror movies. It is all fun and games until someone gets decapitated and your neck starts tingling out of sympathy. But there is an unexpected upside. People with this condition develop incredible emotional awareness. They don't just know you are upset, they can feel it, sometimes before you even say a word. That level of connection can make them amazing friends, therapists, or caregivers. Myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy. Welcome to the world of real-life hulks. Myostatin-related muscle hypertrophy is a genetic mutation that sounds like something straight out of a superhero origin story. The condition reduces the production of myostatin, a protein that limits muscle growth. With less of it, your muscles just keep growing. Imagine waking up ripped without ever setting foot in a gym. People with this condition naturally develop more muscle mass and less body fat than the average person. No protein shakes, no deadlifts, just pure genetic jackpot. Babies with this mutation are born looking like they have been bench pressing in the womb. But as cool as it sounds, this superpower isn't without its quirks. Sure, they are stronger and leaner, but their supercharged muscles don't necessarily mean super endurance or flexibility. Plus, there are still a lot of scientists who don't understand how this mutation affects other aspects of health. Interestingly, researchers are studying myostatin inhibitors to treat muscle-wasting diseases. So, while these genetic outliers are not really saving the world, their condition could lead to groundbreaking medical advances. Until then, they remain the closest thing we have got to real-life superheroes, minus the spandex suits and secret layers. Adrenal hyperactivity, fight or flight supercharge. Ever heard those stories about someone lifting a car to save a trapped loved one? No, it is not the latest Marvel movie. It is the result of adrenal hyperactivity, a condition where your fight or flight response goes into overdrive. When faced with danger, your adrenal glands pump out adrenaline like they are trying to win a race. Most of us get a little boost, like a faster heart rate, sharper senses, and maybe a shaky attempt at running. But for people with adrenal hyperactivity, this response is cranked up to 100. Their muscles temporarily access superhuman strength. Their reflexes become lightning fast, and they can perform feats that would otherwise seem impossible. The downside is that once the adrenaline wears off, your body is left feeling like you just went 3 rounds with a heavyweight champ. And let's not forget the emotional toll of being stuck in constant danger mode. It is not all car lifting glory. Sometimes it is just being the jumpiest person in the room. Hyperlexia. Suppose your toddler is picking up a random book and reading it out loud perfectly, while you're still struggling to figure out if it is bedtime or lunchtime. That is hyperlexia. It is a condition where kids develop an extraordinary ability to read far beyond their age with zero formal training. It is like your toddler skipped ABCs and went straight to reading Shakespeare. At first, it seems like a superpower. Parents beam with pride as their tiny geniuses decode street signs, grocery labels, and even books you haven't gotten around to reading. But while these kids are crushing it in the literacy department, they usually struggle with understanding what they are reading or with social interactions. Hyperlexia commonly overlaps with autism spectrum disorder, so their advanced reading skills are just one piece of a much bigger puzzle. While other kids are trying to figure out how to color within the lines, hyperlexic kids are breezing through War and Peace, but still figuring out how to ask for a snack. Sclerosteosis, unbreakable bones. You've heard of glass bones, but what about bones so tough they could practically win a fight with a jackhammer? That is exactly what sclerosteosis is. It is a rare genetic mutation that gives people ridiculously dense bones. Forget drink milk for strong bones. These folks were born with bones that make titanium look like papier-mâché. People with this condition have bones so dense, they are almost impossible to break. It is like having Wolverine's skeleton, minus the claws and cool catchphrases. If they trip and fall, The ground might take the damage instead of them. Dentists even report that their teeth are incredibly strong, and their cavities are nearly non-existent. That is one hell of a dental insurance goal. But of course, this superpower comes with a cost. Their super dense bones can cause other problems like pinching nerves or putting pressure on the brain. And while they do not have to worry about fractures, surgeries can be a nightmare because cutting through their bones is like trying to carve a statue out of granite. Still, you have to admit, unbreakable bones sounds like a pretty epic addition to the superpower lineup. Just don't ask them to go through airport security. Those x-rays are going to be one heck of a conversation starter. Wilson's temperature syndrome. People with Wilson's temperature syndrome walk around with abnormally low body temperatures, sometimes as low as 96 degrees Fahrenheit. While the rest of us shiver at the thought, their bodies are busy turning this oddity into a hidden advantage, extraordinary endurance. But do you want to know the sciencey magic behind it? Lower body temperature reduces metabolic demands, which means their cells aren't burning energy as fast as ours. It is like they are running life on battery-saving mode, conserving energy for when it really counts. Ever wonder how some people can hike for hours or survive extreme cold without breaking a sweat? Turns out their internal thermostat is giving them an edge. Of course, it is not all endurance and glory. People with this condition can feel perpetually cold, like they are stuck in a freezer commercial. They also experience sluggishness or fatigue, especially when their body is out of sync with the environment. Xeroderma pigmentosum, sensitivity to UV light. What if avoiding the sun wasn't just a lifestyle choice, but a life or death necessity? People with xeroderma pigmentosum have extreme sensitivity to UV light, which makes daylight a no-go zone for them. But their UV-avoidant lifestyle comes with a superpower-worthy twist: superior night vision. Thanks to their hypersensitive eyes, XP individuals can sometimes see in low-light conditions with clarity that rivals a cat on a midnight prowl. While the rest of us are fumbling around in the dark, XP folks might as well be auditioning for the role of Batman. Their heightened light sensitivity allows them to pick up details that most of us would miss, like stars the rest of us can't see, or subtle movements in the shadows. But let's not romanticize it too much. Living with XP means constant vigilance, like protective clothing, special UV blocking windows, and a life lived in the moonlight instead of the sunlight. It is not an easy existence, but the resilience and adaptability of people with XP are nothing short of heroic. Progeria, resistance to aging-related diseases. Progeria is a condition most people recognize for its heartbreaking effects. Children with this disorder age at an accelerated rate. They develop wrinkles and experience hair loss and joint stiffness far earlier than anyone should. But they have a surprising resistance to certain age-related diseases like cancer. Yep. The secret lies in their cells. The same mutation that causes rapid aging also appears to suppress abnormal cell growth and makes them less likely to develop tumors. It is a bittersweet irony. Their bodies may age faster, but they are spared some of the chronic illnesses that plague people in their later years. Despite the challenges they face, children with progeria radiate wisdom and positivity that defy their years. They live life with resilience that makes you wonder if they are the real superheroes among us, not because of their condition, but because of how they embrace life despite it. Thank you for sticking through till the end. Let me know in the comments section. If you could, which superpower disorder would you choose? If you enjoyed this video, consider leaving a like button. Perhaps if you're interested in more videos like this one, hit the subscribe and notification bell to always know when the new video is up. It's free, and you can always change your mind.